Hi, it's Barry Moltz trying to get small businesses through this very difficult time of the coronavirus pandemic. And I want to make sure that everyone is taking advantage of the federal stimulus program that was just passed last week because it really can help and you can get your fair share. So this short webinar is going to take you through what it takes to fill out the form and what's really included in it and what you can expect. So let me just share my screen here. And I want to go through a couple of points. Let's get to slide share mode here. So let's discuss a few things that are included. First, what I really want to do is to warn you that this is my reading of the federal stimulus program and all the articles that I've been able to review, and it's not a guarantee of any benefit. Obviously, only the SBA can tell you exactly what's going to be going on. So a couple things that were passed in the first stimulus program that may benefit your employees. First is there's 80 hours of paid sick time for each employee reimbursed as a payroll tax credit in the next payment whenever you're going to make that. So you're able to give your employees 2 weeks off if they're sick before, even if you're going to lay them off, and that can be reimbursed through a payroll tax credit. Also, the federal stimulus program extends unemployment to 39 weeks at up to $600 a week in most states. Federal aid is added to state aid, and most now is up to 39 weeks. Also, each person in the United States is going to get a check for $1,200 if their earnings are under $150,000, and then that amount gets phased out if you earn up to $200,000. After $200,000, you get nothing. This is based on your 2018 or your 2019 taxes. If you filed them, you don't have to do anything for that. If you filed your tax electronically and the government has your bank information, supposedly that's going to show up in your bank account in 3 weeks. If not, they're going to send you a check. So let's talk about where you can get aid from the federal stimulus program, because they put aside something like $350 billion for small businesses just like you. You can go to this website, sba.gov, or you do the disaster loans, put that into the search engine, and the application will actually come up. Here's a couple of guidelines that I found in the SBA loans. First of all, you only can apply for the disaster business loan if you've had employees by February 15th and they were on payroll and they pay taxes. So this is the form that you've got to fill out if you had employees. Now, all is not lost if you're a freelancer or you're a solopreneur, it's a company of one. You can actually use this other form called the Home and Sole Proprietor Loan Form. It's a little more personal, looks a little more like applying for a mortgage, but you can get money that way even if you are a solopreneur and you're not employing anyone. Borrowers who if you rehire your workers previously laid off. So if you're a company that's already laid off people, you're not going to be penalized for having reduced your payroll at the beginning. But according to my reading, you need to rehire these people within 8 weeks of actually getting your money. So if you've already scaled things down and you've let people go, and now you apply for this assistance and you hire people back as a result of it, you can get credit for that. And what do I mean credit for that? There's a possibility that you won't have to repay that loan back if you use it for people's wages. Now remember, eligible payroll costs do not include compensation for employees that make over $100,000 a year. So if you have very highly paid employees, this isn't going to work. A couple more guidelines. The good news is there's no collateral and no personal guarantees to these loans, unlike any other SBA loan. And there is a complete deferment of these loan payments for 1 year. And you can also qualify for forgiveness if you're using the money to re-employ people, either keep them on the payroll or you're hiring back. Interest rates currently are capped at 4%. There are no fees for these loans, unlike other SBA. And supposedly you can get the money in 2 weeks, but we'll see what happens. So let's actually go through and let's take a look at the form here. Let me just go over to, let's go and we can search on SBA. Oh, actually, let's go back to here. Let's just open this thing up. Let's open up the link and we'll actually go to the form. This is really what the form looks like. And let me take a couple of notes. First of all, actually, let's do this. Let me get a little pointer here. And here we go. Let's see, let me do the spotlight, which would probably be better. So let's use a little bit of a spotlight here. Right down here, it says, please provide all information and document as requested. So there's a bunch of stuff that you still have to add besides this application, like your tax returns and things like that. And you have to pick what your organization type is. Are you a partnership, a limited partnership, LLC, whatever you are? If you're a sole proprietorship, or you're not incorporated at all, you have to use the other form, which is called Disaster of Sole Proprietor and Loan Application. So you got to look at all these other, things, usually things you got to fill out about your company. And down here, you've got to estimate what your loss is, and your loss in real estate or inventory, at leasehold improvements, whatever it is. And if you don't know, you actually can put a question mark in there. And then you have to put down here if you actually have insurance. One other thing I want to note here is you have to put down the number of employees that you had and your business activity, about how much you actually were doing business. So let's go down to the next part of the form. There's all these questions that you have to answer down here. You got to obviously fill out who the owners are, but you have to add down here whether you've ever been a felon, whether you've had past aid. I mean, I have no idea how this really impacts whether you get the aid or not, but you got to go through that. The final page of this form says what you've really got to attach to it. First of all, you've got to attach all your tax information of anybody that owns more than 20% of it. You've got to give them authorization to be able to go back into your taxes. You've got to attach a personal financial statement because they want to know exactly, what is your wealth really around this? Are you applying, but you really have a lot of money? And then you also have to list, all your liabilities. So there's quite a few things you have to do here besides the form. And then they say at the end here that they may ask you for some additional information, like a current year-to-date profit and loss statement. So it doesn't seem too onerous. I guess the proof is in the pudding, as they say. But let's go back to, and then what do you do with it? You actually can, let's make it in slideshow form. You actually can now fill this whole thing out and then upload the forms actually to the SBA, so you don't have to mail them in, and then they're supposed to contact you for additional information. So this is really what you have to go through. If I can help you in any way to actually fill out these forms, or if you need advice on filling out these forms, please let me know. You can go to barry@moltz.com. You can email me there, go to my website, or you can give me a call. Please go out there. And it's very important that you get your fair share of the federal stimulus program so you can help your small business during the time that it actually needs.